Welcome back, guys. Phase 2, starting the solar panel array. I think we've got the the welding to an adequate level. I'd like to get it better, but I am slowly running out of aluminium anyway, and I must have used a good litre of gas so far just from practicing, because I had the gas settings all wrong. I did put a chart up on the last video, courtesy of the welding shop, I think it is, that they had drawn up, that I found on Google. And yeah, so we're gonna have a go at it. I've already cut 2 pieces on the bandsaw. I think the bandsaw is the best option for this. I don't think the chop saw would do this justice, to be honest. So we've cut 2 pieces. We've got to now cut another 2 more. They're the length, so they will go that way and that way, thus, and then the other 2 will go across, but they'll go on the inside. We've got some plastic caps, and I know there'll be more of those caps lying around at the yard, so I shall go back on Tuesday. We'll weld them together. Unfortunately, I've got to start phase 2 at this end, and the reason for it is I don't know where on earth to position the actual units, the arms. Well, it ain't easy. I'm making a bit of a mess, to be honest, but wire brush and grinder is helping. That was the worst one. I blew through on that one. Yeah, I'm telling you, it ain't easy, but it's holding. The welding might be bad, but by God, have I got that square. Centre piece is now in. Ground that flat, because the panels have got to sit on top of that. There's going to be a ½ centimetre overhang on one side, on both sides rather. Something went wrong in my measurements. Might have got it square, but I was just a centimetre too short for some stupid reason. These ones have come out a bit better. I was just starting to get the hang of it. Just starting to get the hang of it. Typical, isn't it, when you come to the end? End up doing a swirly motion like I did before, but this time I was pushing instead of pulling, and I was just trying to figure the angle, and also with the alley, I sanded the alley down with a sanding belt this time instead of wire brushing it with that steel one, because as you know, or those of you who do, aluminium needs to be brushed with stainless steel, and it needs to be immaculately clean. Other than putting a sandblaster over it, I couldn't think of any other way to get it cleaner. Right, I finally got this thing figured out. I'm going to do 2 A-frames. The mechanism that I've come up with is that. And it brings it to the right angle that I need it to. And then we just need to find it, flat pack it down. Thus. That's the plan. Right, there's the first leg, 13 inches long, 13, probably about 15 to that hole there. Not sure what size that hole needs to be at the moment. The hole is for these to go on, and eventually this has to sit at that angle, but it'll be behind, and I've probably got that in the wrong place. It may have to be re-drilled, but until I actually get this thing welded up, I'm not really going to know. We've done a centre line along there, so we can always do another hole and lower it. It's a little bit confusing at the moment. My mind is elsewhere. They're the lower arms. I've now got to do the same style again, but for the upper arms. I've done the short ones, I'm now doing the longer ones, but I'm going to do this slightly different. Anything I haven't done yet is put a hole in. I need to measure and sort the hole out before I weld them on. But what we'll do is we'll clamp that down to the square, so that's pushed tightly against, and then clamp that on there so it lifts that up in the air. We'll put some supports underneath that side so it stays square and straight, and then we'll weld round, and then the second one will go in up as far as that line, and then we'll weld down to here, and we'll do that. There's the first of the larger legs welded up, ready to go. We'll trim that off up this end at a later date, because what I'll do is I'll grind that flat, which I should have done on that and didn't. Stack the two together and then slice through, so they are absolutely 100% identical. That's the plan. So now we'll get on with the second one. Right, I'm now trimming off the last two pieces. They're now clamped together, the holes line up exactly. I'm loving this bandsaw. You can just let it get on with it and walk away and do other things. I love it. So, there we go. Right, well that's my 4 legs. I just hope I got them the correct length, and they are literally, this one is half of the length of that frame, and this one is half of the length of this one. Purpose being, well, you've seen it in a demonstration, this piece of card is half the length of the one above, so when it, drawing pins fell out, so when it opens up, that's going to be the angle of the solar panel if everything goes correctly. Right, we're now making the platform for that frame to bolt to, which will sit like that, 4 of them, which will bolt onto those corners there. We're just cutting out 4 plates for the corner pieces. Right, they're tack welded on, they're drilled, so I'm happy with the alignment. So there'll be one there, somewhere like that, I don't know, I can't remember how I had it in my head. This one was right at the end, if memory serves, and the blocks, there they are. We're going to find a way of mounting 4 of those on, and then there'll be rose joints added to these pieces here, and then we'll cut down as we spoke about and bend them in until they meet in the centre. So we need to find something for the centre plates. I have got some old rusty metal that I might be able to use for that. We'll see where we end up. Right, I've cut 2 heavier steel blocks because there's a lot of weight going on these larger arms. These are the ones that thrust up in the air at that particular angle. So all the weight is going to be on them. Hope this all works. So they'll get welded on the end, about sticking out like so, and these will be connected up like so. Okay, I think that's all we're going to do today. I've mounted these temporarily. I've got to put some washers around everything and stack some washers underneath. It's hollow, and I think that's as far as I can take it today. Tomorrow we'll cut, bend, we'll work out where the centre is and make up a triangular piece to join onto that, to join them together, and we'll then put this through the bandsaw and section it, and then we'll stick it all in a lathe, drill the centres out, mount them in place, and we should be good to go. In fact, I'm thinking about whacking them in with a steel plate over this end, which I shall throw through the lathe as well, because I ain't got no large washers, and then we'll run a bolt through that all the way through this, and then nut and bolt on the end. 10mm is what I'm looking at on that. We've got 10mm rose joints. I ordered 4. I don't know why at the time. It's nice to have 4, but I reckon it'll be 2 each side of that. Spread the load. 1 there, oh sorry, 2 there spread, 2 on the front one spread, and then we'll make the angle iron framework, angle iron, which will attach to that centerpiece, and we will get 2 flat plates welded onto the angle, which will bolt onto that over that for extra strength, and then we'll have yeah, at that point I don't know. Okay, the rose joints have turned up, to my astonishment. Well, we've got the 10mm turned up as well, and I was looking at the angle on this. You've got to do 2 angles. Not only does the unit have to go up in that motion, but once that plate there, it has to be able to do that. And I was looking at the angle on here, and that's quite significant, and that's kind of what I need. That's the angle. So yeah, I think that will do it. Okay, I have cut out the blocks that will sit within the shafts. We will drill through so as we can then offer a bolt through either one of these holes. Then we will literally weld that to that. We'll cut a recess in there, rebate, so the weld can flow into that. Then what we'll do, when it goes in the lathe, because I have a 2mm throw out on my chuck and I can't get the chuck off, for a 4-jaw, to time it in properly, I will draw a line on the chuck itself and then draw a line down there and line them all up to that one line. That way they should all have exactly the same throw out, so when they all go on they won't all move at different angles and mess up. I've already marked a line on top on all of them, so as long as I get those lines level, everything should go into position absolutely fabulously. I think what I will have to do is cut a line in there and make a bend, weld back where I've cut, and then I'll cut some gussets that can then go onto that area there across to stop it from bending back, and I'll do that to all 4 of them hopefully by the end of the day. They're now bolted on. Have some concerns about that one, but we'll see where that ends up. Those ones have already been welded and bent. They are now in position. You've got to bear in mind that these little bearing units I've got going on there are like bloody rose joints, which is useful because it will take out all the discrepancies, but for once in my life I haven't produced any, apart from some poor quality welding in places, but hey ho. The other 2 units are on, so really all we're waiting for is for the grinder to charge up, and then we'll make the necessary slits down there and we'll bend them. We've got a system for that, and that's to put the square against here, sorry there, and then pull that across. I did it on those 2 big ones, I did it to the halfway point, and that did actually take it smack bang to the centre. But this one being smaller and half the length of those, I reckon I'll have to go to the full length. I haven't welded those slits up yet because I want to make the centrepiece first, which is going to be a bit difficult because those damn things keep flopping over. So I reckon we'll have to get a bit of metal, clamp it down up top to keep them dead flat, and then we'll clamp those together that way, make up some triangular plates, weld them in, and then we'll make up a block of some description to put the rose joints on the end of, which I'm still not 100% sure how that's going to work out. Right, the bolts are now on. What I actually did here is squared that one off, but I didn't do that one. I squared that off, put the bolt on top, measured it out to where I needed it, and tack welded each corner of the bolt to the inside of the tubes. Then I welded under the tubes as best as I could to join that on, and instead of putting one big massive plate with a hole drilled in it that I'd have to hammer around and make a shed load of noise, I then got little triangles and just welded in the triangles, which is why it's a little scruffy. I've got to consider the noise levels, you see. And you can see the bolts, they line up perfectly. So I'll lower this down, and that is hot. Ouch. I'll give you a rough idea of what this thing's going to do. That's my only issue, is the way that flops. I might put the ram on this one instead of the upper one. I don't know yet. We'll see. Although it'd help if the string was tensioned. So that's what we'll start again. That is where we are at the moment. Well, the rose joints get screwed on, and it should lift the solar panels exactly where I need them. And hopefully, as long as this lot don't get in the way, which it could, we should be able to tip it left to right. But if we can't, that's kind of screwed us up a little bit. We'll have to cut the threads and or use the existing rose joints and make some big bars go across that and put another set on. I don't know, we'll see. I'm hoping this is going to work. I've gone rather a long way with it to find out it doesn't. Both screws are done, you know that, I think. I'm now working on the angles which have to be fitted onto here. Originally I wanted to go the full width for this. Problem is, it's twofold. One, I didn't get the right size bolts. I mucked up on that one. Secondly, the wider I go with this, I think the more wobble it's going to achieve, because there's going to be more flex. So by bringing it in closer, I think it will actually eliminate most of the sway that I'm going to get from this. It's very thin metal. It's not. I tried to keep the weight down, you see, so I'm very much hoping that this is going to be strong enough. So what we'll do is we'll just weld these two pieces together. We've definitely got strength in the middle because of the overlaps, so we'll just do some stitch welding, nothing special, and then we'll work out where these holes need to be drilled. I may very well use the pillar drill for this, because we need to have these fairly accurate. Problem is, I don't have a 16mm drill bit. This will be fun. Right, we are now coming to the end. I've stitch welded this together. There's more work to be done to this. I've drilled the holes. I found a milling bit actually, which has done the job beautifully. My concern is there's a bit, there's a lot of length on that one. It would have been nice to have that arm further up, but it wouldn't have been able to achieve that. I can work out what I needed to. So we're now about to bolt this on and see what happens. As I said, this will either work or it won't. So I've done all this work for nothing if it doesn't. But I was prepared to go that far just to find out. Okay, it's in, but I'm not overly happy with it. There's two things that I'm seeing as a problem, actually three. First one is it's not flat packing because the metal is just getting in the way, so we've got to do some trim work there, and I'm a bit concerned about weak spots going in there. But having saying that, it's being bolted to the ends of that alley and glued to the centre piece. I might try and run a bolt in there. The next problem I've got is stability. We've got to put some strength in that run down there in the form of a triangle, because, well, I'll show you why. When it goes up, which is exactly what it was meant to do, I've noticed that you twist it and it shifts about a bit. Don't like that. So we've got a little bit of playing around to do there. Let's see if we can resolve that problem. And that's okay. Welcome back. Saturday morning. Been slept on this, and not literally, you know what I mean, on how to get round this problem, because I need that to sit a lot lower. The angle of attack isn't so important. So what I'm going to do, I mean, what I could have done is I could have taken the bolts off underneath and laid them on top these steel plates going that way, and that would have given me more, but didn't think of that one when I was building it, because I never saw this problem coming. As I said to you in the early part of the video, I'm sort of making it up as I go along. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to cut 8 plates, 8-inch long, and weld them over the top, take the bolts out, put them in there. Then I'll do another 8 more plates, smaller, lay them over the top, so I can weld around and laminate it, because on their own I don't think they're going to be strong enough. And I'll put some reinforcement blocks on the inside, and that should be enough. I also want to put a brace bars across the centre of those beams there. But also I want to build another arm, just a single, well actually it's going to be a double arm come off the back and then stop about halfway with a single arm coming off that, just to support the top half of it. It is going to add more weight to it, but I've not properly weighed this thing, but I would say we've got the equivalent of about two car batteries, I don't know, or one very large car battery in weight on this. We've definitely got a car battery on that one turntable, and we've probably got a motorcycle battery on the aluminium, to give you an idea of the weights of what's going up there. It is heavy, but it isn't as heavy. I've put it like this: when the steel was on my little van, all of the steel, I hardly noticed it was up there. So going on the roof of a lorry, I'm not expecting a great deal, but if it is a problem with stability, I'm afraid it'll have to go, and I'll just have to plant the solar panels flat on the roof, and that'll be the end of it. But at the moment I have no plans to do that, so let's crack on. Okay, I fitted the blocks. New problem has arisen. What I am going to have to do, and I don't have any choice in the matter, is to put stopper blocks to rest on the A-frames so that they sit in one position, because what's happening is that A-frame is dropping lower than the rear one at the moment, and when you try to pull on the back or the front, the two mechanisms are locking up, which they obviously would. So yeah, I am going to have to lower them a little bit. The only other thing I can do, if it comes to it, I could do this, is to cut these blocks down so these sit level there, and then the A-frame sit on the main frame. It would certainly lower the whole mechanism, but what I'm going to do in a minute is put that alley frame on top and just see where everything sits in relation to the roof line. Right, I've just lowered that on there, and I've just raised this up. It is heavy. It's heavy to lift. I'm hoping that my electric ram I've got will do this. Bought a linear actuator, but I don't know, the down motion, that needs a shock absorber on there to slow it down, because when that momentum starts, boy does it start. It could be, with the solar panels bolted on, could be too much weight, and it could potentially break the linear actuator, like snap it in half. So I think we're going to have to look at something to slow that motion down. I'd rather it flew up in the air and then came down slower. We could put a gas strut on that, so it's got the action to pull it up, and then the weight of the whole thing will counteract the motion to come down. I can't get this to find its own balance point once it's erect. That's going to be a problem, so all the weight will be on that ram. We get any high wind, it could be devastation, so I may have to get a second ram to add some strength to it, because I'm not sure one is going to be sufficient. So we'll see where we go. We'll look at that as an option. But I'm going to need another minimum 2 more rams to lift this. Well, 2 rams to lift it and 1 to tilt it. But the tilt ram will be easy, because we'll mount it to there and onto here, so when the ram moves it will do all of that motion. So that will be easy. That I ain't got an issue with. Okay guys, I think we're going to call this video. There's a lot of major reworking to be done. I could be here for another week. I've got the linear actuator, and I got a little bit messed up. It's not a 650 pound, it's a 1500 pound push. So that one on its own should be more than adequate, but the problem is, if I was to put the base of that here and put that piece there, the maximum height and angle I get is pretty much that. That ain't gonna work. So what I'm gonna do, because I need to support that A-frame at the front, that's being a bit troublesome at the moment, I think we're gonna mount it there, and we're gonna put some brace bars across here on this A-frame here, and then we'll mount it to wherever that stops, and that should give me my maximum height. The problem is I've got a bit of working out to do, because the linear actuator has 2 auto shut off switches inside. I'm just looking at what could be the easiest point to mount that to. We're coming on to motions and levers again, and I need to figure out which is the easiest. Will it be easier to mount it there? Would it be easier to mount it at the bottom? I don't know at this point in time. Would it be easier to put an arm on and have it connected to the arm? Again, I don't know. So I've got some serious figuring out to do, and it sounds to me that next door's kid's having a birthday, and I don't want to disturb next door because they haven't been the most pleasantest of people just lately. So I think we're just going to cease until later on tonight, and I'm going to upload this video in a little while. I shall go up in the room and set it all up, post it, and there will have to be a part 2, I'm afraid. But you can see the principles. Stay tuned, there is more to come, and that will be in the next couple of days. I'm not just going to sit here and do nothing. I'm going to on Monday I'll pick this up again, and I might even come out tonight and try and do those A-frames, but I want to get this uploaded so you've all got something to watch for Sunday. So thank you for viewing. You can see where this is heading, and don't forget to subscribe, press the like button please, and we'll see you next week, very early next week with a bit of luck. Bye.